Hello and welcome to Serious Vintage. I'm Geoff Moes.
I'm Nat Moes.
And I'm Josh Chapple.
Today we'll be talking about the March Team Serious Open, and then Josh and Nat eating all over Columbus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we had 27 people, including Josh Chapple, for the March Team Serious Open. Josh flew all the way in from Colorado, and I thought it was a blast.
I would agree with that.
I also had a really good time.
Yeah, and I'm really excited that we've started hitting, well, so far anyway, we've started hitting 20 plus people on these events. We had 34 on the one in January, and then this one he had 27, so I'm really hoping we can start getting to the 32 player mark somewhat regularly, especially as the weather gets nicer.
I thought January's tournament could have been a fluke because of SCG or something, but this tournament pulling 27 is definitely a pretty good indicator.
Yeah. And I know it's actually interesting because this was somewhat in competition with the Grand Prix in Richmond. And I don't know if I think there were people who basically didn't go to the Grand Prix and decided they had nothing better to do than to play Vintage, so they did.
That's an excellent reason to play Vintage.
Yeah, which is fine with me.
Well, I think we probably lost a handful of people, but probably not a ton.
Yeah, and I think the thing is we probably lost as many as we brought in, basically. I think the number of people who skipped GP Vintage, or skipped GP Richmond and came to Vintage.
Yeah, GP Vintage.
Will never happen. Anyway, I think the number of people who skipped GP Richmond and played Vintage is about the same number of people who skipped Vintage to go play in Virginia. So.
Yeah, it could be. And we had 2 new signups?
Yeah, that's the other thing. We've gotten, in the past 2 tournaments, we've had new DCI cards registered to new players, which I just think is awesome because it's Vintage, and no one thinks that people get into competitive Magic for Vintage. But apparently they do. I think we've had 3 in the past 2 events.
Yeah, seems great.
Yeah, I know. So that's cool.
One of those players beat me, I believe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, if you let Sulfuric Vortex resolve, your time plant goes out the window.
You got beat by the Burn player?
Yeah.
I played against him as well.
I'm glad he beat me.
Yeah. Did
you beat him, Nat?
I did. I should not have.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
No, I should not have.
Did he resolve Sulfuric Vortex against you?
No, he did not.
That's probably why you beat him.
Well, no, actually the reason that I beat him was because he let Bob live every time.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't seem so good.
Nope. And I'm not playing combo or anything, but it refills my hand enough and puts me far enough ahead in the game that I have counterspells and whatever else to...
So he was putting Burn over Bob's head and into yours?
Yeah. And the game would end with me at 2 or 3 life, but, well, actually I guess it usually ended with me at 4 life, because if I got down below that he could probably kill me. But yeah, he couldn't just finish me off.
Yeah, I guess he was probably hoping that Bob would do some of his job for him, and that's can potentially work, but that's certainly a pretty big gamble.
Yeah, interestingly, I played against Burn several years ago at a Mana Drain Open, and the same thing happened, basically. He just let Bob live, and I just kept drawing cards and then won. I was playing combo then, but it was interesting. I think if you're playing Burn, you should kill Bob. That's my recommendation for the day. Cards
are real good.
Cards are great. Yeah. Having more cards is even better.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what we played.
Yeah.
All right.
Nat, what did you play? I know we did a lot of very intense testing the night before.
It was very intense. And
probably a lot of different gears.
I had been thinking about playing Tidespout Oath because it had done well there, a few months ago for me. I was thinking if we had a combo turnout like we did the last time, where we had, I think, 27 players were on blue decks and half of those were on combo. The Tyrant Oath list generally does pretty well against combo, especially against Oath-based combo, because you have a better draw engine to go find Forbidden Orchards, usually. But anyway, the Oath list did terribly against yours, whatever pile you played, and so I just decided to play Sullivan Solution pretty much straight out of whatever year that was invented.
A Rayo.
Yeah. I was resolving and flipping a Rayo. I was attacking with Dimir Cutpurse.
Yeah, I saw you play a Dimir Cutverse against someone and blow their mind.
I was tutoring for just random answers to stuff. It was awesome. Like, I had a ton of fun. All my games were super interactive, and I went 2-3.
Were you 2-2 until the last round, or?
Was I 2-2 until? Yes, I did lose my last round. I lost my last round against Paul Blakely, who was playing Pyromancer Gush.
Young Pyromancer or Pyromancer Ascension?
The former.
Okay. I wouldn't have known.
He doesn't have a brain defect.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I had a lot of fun. I really like that deck a lot. And I don't think it's totally outmoded right now. I think it has a rough time versus shops, but you just bring in a whole bunch of creature removal, and there's answers for a whole bunch of other things. I also really enjoyed playing Stifles all weekend.
For people who may not know, could you explain what the deck does?
Sure. The Sullivan solution was invented by Adrian Sullivan as an answer to the whole vintage deal back in 2008, I think. Back then there was a whole bunch of, one of the big threats at the time was TPS, the Storm deck, and you had a whole bunch of ways to hate on mana. You had Wastelands and Stifles being used to hit fetch lands. And then you also had a bunch of counters and Stifles against Storm. You could really beat up on Storm decks, and I had a hunch that might be useful, and actually it turned out to be not too bad. But, I don't know, it was the wrong environment to have this particular deck in, and I didn't face a lot of the matchups that I wanted to, but...
And then you're draw engineing with Dimir Cutpurse and using Arreo just sort of as a big value.
Right.
How do you go about flipping Arreo once you play him?
It's pretty organic, actually, how you flip them. You are playing 5 Moxes, and you have just a bunch of 1-drop and efficient spells, and, you don't need your Moxes immediately, so a lot of times you just end up holding them in your hand until you can play Arreo. I mean, I did have a game where I was going to flip him on turn 1. My play was going to be Black Lotus, Arreo, Mox, Dimir Cutpurse, which would have been a heck of an opening.
Right.
But instead, that was in the last round, and Paul had the counter for Arreo, and Dimir Cutpurse resolved, and then traded with the Young Pyromancer, I think. I felt okay doing that, because I felt both were just sources of infinite card advantage. So.
Yeah. Do you play the Arcane Lab for the hard lock, or is that just win more?
No, I didn't do that. No, actually, the hard lock is pretty much Arreo and Cutpurse, because if you get them down to 1 card in hand, that is either a land or something they won't be able to resolve through Arreo.
Oh, okay.
So
how many people read Arreo?
A lot of people read Arreo,
awesome.
And a lot of people read Cutpurse.
I bet.
Which again is just pleasing to me.
Yeah, so what does Arreo do?
What do you mean? What does Arreo do?
Well, do people that are listening to us, is anyone listening to us? Do they know what Arreo does?
Oh, I thought people knew. Oh, well, anyway, Arreo is a, legendary flip card from Kamigawa block, and it costs 1 and a blue for a 1/1 flyer, and the 1/1 flyer actually did come in handy.
He flies? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know, right?
It actually flips. It does not transform.
Yeah, it flips. It flips lengthwise, basically. Yeah, now we have cards that flip in several directions, so you have to be specific. But anyway, so while it's a creature, whenever Storm 4 is reached, it will trigger to flip, and then once it's triggered, it becomes an enchantment that counters the first spell an opponent plays every turn, which, is a disruptive ability for sure, but it's not that hard to play around, because you usually just wait until you have a Mox in your hand, and then throw your Mox away, and then resolve whatever spell you're going to do. But that means you need 2 cards in hand, and have to have counter backup, etc.
Yeah, it's generally just, it forces the opponent to put a lot of cards into their plays.
Right. And the other thing that's nice about it is that because of the legendary rules change, you can now play an Arreo and flip it, and then play the creature version again, and if you flip that one accidentally, you just sacrifice one of them. You don't lose both of them like you used to.
Yeah, it seems a lot better.
It's a lot better, because being able to attack with Arreo then, again, is good.
Yeah, it seems fine. Best case scenario for your opponents, they have a Abrupt Decay, And they still just abrupticate an Arreo, so.
Right. Well, at that point, they can abrupt decay something else and then resolve their second spell too. So
That's true.
yeah, abrupt decay would be really good against Arreo, but who cares?
Did you see any abrupt decay?
Did I? I don't. Well, if they did, they didn't target Arreo. I don't remember.
It happened Friday night at the kitchen table.
Did you target Arreo?
I don't remember what I targeted. Probably.
I think you actually may have taken out Cut Purse, but
Oh.
I mean, whatever.
Guess I'm better than I thought.
Yeah, no, good job. It was a lot of fun, like I said, because I did have a bunch of interaction. It was fun, again, to be able to play cards that people had to read, because I had a bunch of different counters and stuff like that were just there to sort of be somewhat diversionary as well as being effective in different matchups. So, I only had one of Spell Snare and Mental Misstep and some other stuff, so.
Was Stifle as good as you were hoping it would be?
I have always loved Stifle.
I know. I used to hate it when we just played against each other nonstop.
And it ended up being pretty useful. I stifled several triggers in Dredge, including a Bazaar and a Narcomoeba. I stifled a Rift Bolt.
Which works out way better than you probably thought.
No, I thought it would pretty much straight up counter it and exile it, and it did. So that was what I wanted. And I also, I stifled several fetch lands and some other stuff. It was useful. I played 3 of them, and that seems about right. I could play 4 of them. I like Stifle a lot.
Could play 5 of them.
I could play 5 because I could just play as Trick Bind. Basically, I had 3 Trick Bind and a Shadow of Doubt because I like that card too.
Bold.
No Squelch?
No Squelch. But yeah, I played against Blue-Black Tesserator. I played against Shops, which was a blowout regardless. It didn't matter that I had a lousy deck against Shops. It would have been a blowout anyway. I played against Burn. I played against Noblefish. And...
Pyromancer.
Yeah, Pyromancer. No, I didn't play against Noblefish. What was the other deck I played against? I don't remember.
I hope that that's okay, because I pretty much don't remember any of what I played against.
Yeah, I guess that's how it goes. What did you play, Jeff?
Well, I just finished up my Shops, so I wanted to play Shops. I've never actually played Shops in tournament before.
So you bought all your Mishra's Workshops?
Right, that's right.
Okay. Let's be clear here.
Yes. And I pretty much was trying to toss up between Twanspresso stacks and your old Forge Master Staves list.
Man, you chose poorly.
I apparently chose poorly, which is funny because traditionally when I like two-fisting decks that I want to play, I play them against Twanspresso stacks, and I have a really hard time with that deck. I think it's pretty good. But I decided to go with what?
So you know what won the tournament too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have seen his hands in the top 8. They were
Oh no, that was sick. That was ridiculous.
So in case you haven't been paying attention, Twan actually top 4'd the tournament. We split at top 4, but he was first all the way through the Swiss and pretty much.
His game 1 and game 3 in top 8 were just like, yeah, I'm gonna play out my hand and you're just gonna die. He had like first turn stack both games.
So good.
That's really hard.
And then his opponent in game 3 played like his only basic land and he top deck Strip Mine.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
Like he was already
Did
bad
he offer
for him.
him a high five or anything?
I think he blew on his deck.
So yeah, I was playing Forge Master Staves, so basically like Shops and Lodestones, and then the ultimate combo is Forge Masters, Metalworkers, and Staves. Staff of Domination. I never was able to combo out. Pretty much every single time I played a dude, he died within a turn. I was seeing lightning bolts. I saw a lot of Ancient Grudge. People were definitely prepared for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up 2-3, and one of those wins was the bye, so I can't say that I did all that well. I still had a really good time though, and I think that my opponents also had a good time. So that's good.
Did you play against Burn?
I did not play against Burn.
You must not have, because
I played against a decent amount of blue. I played against Twan in round 1, which was an interesting match, but in both cases I could not beat Smokestack. Even in game 2, I had a first turn Platinum Angel, and he was basically just able to get a stack down, and a series of Tangle Wires just put me onto the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I realize actually that if I'd thought to, I could have given you some advice on the sideboard, because I know that the sideboard for that I think you copied since it had Shimmer Mirror in it.
Shimmer Mirror. It's like, what is this card for?
Yeah, but
What does it do?
You can play artifacts as though they have flash.
And Shimmer Mirror itself has flash. So, and I wasn't thinking, it's sort of obvious now, but basically if you get Hurkyl's Recalled, you tap your mana, your stuff bounces, and then you can play Shimmer Mirror with your floating mana, and then play it all your stuff again.
Right. But it's terrible. I mean, it's not good.
No, not good.
It's adorable.
It's real cute. Not good.
Yeah, the sideboard for that is bad against shops. Like, it really needs to bring in Crucibles.
Yeah.
Because your mana gets hit really hard.
Yeah.
You don't quite have enough mana to keep up with them.
And the deck also has 3 cities of traders, which is tough when you're trying to keep your permanent and land count up.
Yeah, like you really need to bring in probably at least 2 Crucibles and probably a couple extra lands. I've definitely lost to shops before where it's just like on turn 2 I have 0 mana for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he playing Null Rods?
I don't think he was playing Null Rods. Or at least if he was, he sided them out.
Because Null Rod is even worse.
I bet.
Yeah, so, oh well.
Yeah, I pretty much got dump trucked all day long. I'm seriously trying to remember some of my other games, and I think that I've blocked them out of my mind.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of your wins
was the buy.
Yes.
Yeah, that was real strong. I got to videotape some games.
Oh yeah, I wonder if
Where are those?
I should have them. I forgot they existed, so I didn't do anything with them. Also, one of them was me getting trounced, so I might just
definitely forgot they existed.
Right, I might just leave that there.
Yeah. No, I like the deck. I just needed to be able to get threats that would stick, like having staff and no metalworker.
Yeah.
Is pretty rough.
Were you playing Blightsteel Colossus?
I wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an old list from me.
Which actually was kind of awkward because there were a couple of times when I could get Forge Master online.
Right.
And I couldn't get anything that would really seal the deal.
Right. Yeah, that's because Dwayne Haddix and I were playing parallel developing lists for a while, and I think both of us were sort of taking tech from each other. And the one big thing I took from him was Blightsteel Colossus, which now I don't think you could play without. That's just silly.
I agree with that.
I thought it was win more for a long time, but now I realize it's actually just win a lot of time.
Yeah, it sucks to cast, but at the same time, if you get Forge Master, most of the time you're going to want to get Blightsteel.
Does that deck play Lightning Greaves?
Yeah.
That was another thing. I noticed the games that I won were games where I had Lightning Greaves.
Yeah, Lightning Greaves is really good. How many were we playing?
2.
Whoops. Yeah, it should have been 3 at least.
Like, that card is real good. And it seems so innocuous, but it just enables some really, really good plays.
Yeah. Yeah, the other list that's similar, the version that Jordy played at Gen Con is actually pretty good too, in that sort of vein.
Yeah, I know you offered that to me because you had it proxied up, and I should have taken you up on that one.
Oh, yeah. Man.
You can't play proxy workshops when you got real ones.
Yes.
I know, that was why. That was why I couldn't do it.
Yep, I'm with you.
But hey, at least you were fully powered and played Sanctioned Vintage, right?
Yeah. The only time I got Forge Master online and needed to tutor up Sundering Titan to really control the game, I drew him. I drew the Titan the turn that Forge Master came off of Summoning Sickness.
So good.
Real strong.
Yeah. So what did you think of workshops in general? Because as far as I know, this is the first time you've ever played workshops in a tournament.
It is. And it's funny because I think that shops get sort of a bad name, and I think we've talked about this before as being very one-dimensional, but as far as you just, get your opening hand and you play out your 7 and then you either win or you don't.
Right.
But there's quite a bit of nuance as to how you play out your cards, especially because you're so focused and you have few options, but those options matter more.
Right.
There were a bunch of times I was playing out my hand and I was like, well, that was really stupid and I could just lose this right now if he has a counter.
Right. Because usually that's something like turn 1 workshop and then you either have Sphere of Resistance or Metalworker or something. It's do you go for Metalworker to get it online right away, or do you go for Sphere of Resistance? Or, well, usually in that case it would be Thorn of Amethyst. But
I think The thing that I have always remembered, I think may have been Trogdon, I don't know, someone that I trusted their opinion on workshops said, like, when you are deciding whether or not to keep a hand, you have to look at the hand and decide, like, if these are the only cards I have the rest of the game, can I win?
Yeah.
Because your draw engine's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Your draw engine is every turn.
yeah, it's real wretched. I did have a really hilarious play against Twan. So in game one, he was on the play and he played out some Moxen and did his thing. And on my turn, I had a Phyrexian Revoker to play, so I played my Phyrexian Revoker on his Mox Emerald. And blah, 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 we play on, I eventually lose the game. And in game two, I'm on the play, and my first turn is basically, I think it's just blind Revoker, and next turn I can Lodestone or something. I play out the Revoker. I don't know what to name, because we're basically playing most of the same cards. I didn't realize he was playing Leyline Helm. If I had known that, I would have named Helm.
Helm, yeah.
So I was like, I was just going to name a Mox, and I was like, well, Mox Sapphire. He's like, okay, and I reach over to write a new slip for Sapphire, and I was like, oh, I just have this one that's already named Emerald. I'll just name Emerald instead. And Emerald was like the Mox that he had. It totally shut him out of having first turn Smokestack, and
Nice. It's a good thing there's no REL at unsanctioned events.
yeah, apparently. No, I had an opponent who, I don't remember what I played. I think it was a Metalworker or something, and he was like resolves, and he was like, "Oh shoot, I should have countered that." And I was like, "I really haven't like finished resolving this yet. If you want to counter it, you can counter it. It's fine." I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna counter it. It was good because he definitely won the game because he countered that. But like, we can play the game and not be.
Vintage is full of friendly people.
Exactly. It's about having a good time, not necessarily adhering to the rules so rigidly.
Yeah.
When you say it like that, it sounds like EDH.
Yeah. It's pretty much like that, only way cooler.
That's the greatest insult that I've ever heard to Vintage Chapel. I can't believe you just said that.
Well, I've seen, like, people play EDH and, triggers hit the stack 4 or 5 turns later, which I guess is the same in Vintage. It's like, oh, I missed 3 Mana Crypt rolls.
I guess I'll roll for all these right now.
Oh, hey, I died 2 turns ago. So, Chapel, what did you play? Since, obviously, I did terribly, and I'm worth talking about.
Well, I mean, I can't say I really have a better story.
Yeah, I guess you were at the bottom tables before I was at the bottom tables.
That's true. I started off 0-2.
You guys realize that people listen to us about?
Yeah, I don't. I don't.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's
several
hilarious.
article series.
So I had together a 4-color welder list for a while, just because it was pretty fun to play, and it wasn't really that bad. I mean, if you could counter what you needed to in the early game and make it to the mid game, you were fine, which is kind of similar to Slaver, I guess, when that was a deck. But I don't know if it's just I didn't know what I was doing, which is definitely possible. But by round 1 against Alec, he was playing workshops, and I think it all went downhill in the middle of game 1 my entire day. And I resolved the Jace, and I'd countered a couple things, and I had no threats. Like, my hand was garbage. So I'm like, I need to do something to, like, end this game quicker than just going straight for Fate Sealing. So I ended up brainstorming like 3 times. It was like a shuffle in the middle, and I still found nothing. So I'm like, okay, now I need to start trying to win.
Yeah.
I got Jace to like 10. He resolved a creature, and then I lost the game. It was stupid.
But you couldn't bounce it with Jace?
Well, I mean, I could, but like and then he got to the point where he could play 2 creatures, and it got out of control real fast.
Stupid Jace.
That's what I hate about Jace. It feels so bad when you.
Well, I mean, I think I could have played better, could have like made better decisions, but I guess in hindsight that's easy to say.
Yeah.
Was he short on a resource when you resolved Jace? I mean, like, could you have kept him off lands or kept him off creatures or something to win? Like with Fate Sealing, I mean.
No, I mean, I pretty much had to Fate Seal him out of threats, which I guess I could have done, but I think he still had like 3 or 4 cards in his hand. I didn't know what they were. So, yeah, I really wanted to try and get Key, Time Vault, or like Tinker, and I don't know, maybe I got greedy. I always play Magic pretty greedy, so.
Yeah.
And then I think I lost the next game. And then my round 2 opponent was the Burn player, who I'm glad that he beat me because I don't play a lot of foreign cards in my deck, but I play some, and I made him call a judge because I told him that he shouldn't ask me what they do.
Because it's wrong to get your opponent's advice on what to play.
Right. So, and I think I have like 5 foreign cards in my deck, and they're like Yawgmoth's Will, Vampiric Tutor, Mana Vault, Gifts, and Factor Fiction. But,
Yeah.
he was pretty new to the game, so, which is fine. I don't care. I mean, I would rather him look him up. I think I won. Oh no, game 1 he resolved Sulfuric Vortex, and I had Time Vault Key next turn, and that didn't do anything. I won game 2, and then game 3 I lost to my own Mana Crypt.
So, I mean, obviously when he had Sulfuric Vortex, like, you Time Vault keyed anyway, and so you couldn't, I assume you weren't playing, like, well, you had an Ancient Grudge main deck and stuff, right? Or not Ancient Grudge, Abrupt Decay.
I did. I had 1.
Take all the turns, take all the damage.
I think I was at 4 life.
Oh.
So, like, I think I drew a card and was like, okay.
You got it.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a fine opponent.
Yeah. Well, he was really nice. Like, I played against him too, and
Yeah.
he was fun to play against.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of talked to him about Vintage. Asked him, like, he said this was his first event, I think, at playing Vintage. So, I mean, that's cool. Good for him for showing up.
Yeah.
My next 2 rounds were Oath, which that deck has always been pretty decent against. I don't know if it's like the Abrupt Decay's coming in from the sideboard or that it plays a decent amount of counter magic, but I don't know. I've always felt like I have a pretty good game against Oath.
Was this Burning Oath, or was this like some other get an actual?
This was Burning Oath,
Okay.
and I don't remember his real name, but his name was Kurosu.
It's Tom.
Tom, yeah, Tom was his name. Yeah, we had a real weird game 1 where he just kind of resolved Gristlebrand, drew 14 cards, and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And by resolve Gristlebrand, I mean like Ritual, Lotus, Lands.
Nice.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. And then the rest of the games I won with Spirit Tokens. And then my next round, Oath player, the next of the games, those games, a 2-0 won with Spirit Tokens as well. And the 2-2 flyer from Swan Song really helped speed up my clock as well.
Yeah.
I think I had 3 Spirit Tokens and a 2-2 Swan.
Man, Swan tokens do not seem that good to give out when you're playing Oath.
I don't know, I totally got dump trucked by Swan Song at one point.
Well, I mean, if you're combo Oath, it seems okay, I guess. But unless you're, unless your Oath just doesn't stick around, then
Right.
it's just even worse.
Yeah, like if they counter your Oath anyway or whatever, like, that seems bad. I don't know.
My last round I played against Keeper. I think his name was Rick.
Yeah, Rick Gideon.
We had some good games. Pretty back and forth for a while. He won game 1, and I don't remember exactly what happened. Game 2, I remember tinkering for Sundering Titan and hitting the full 5 lands, 4 of them his.
Nice. Yeah, his keeper list plays, I think, all 5 colors, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Does he do that with cities or just fetches and duels?
He's got cities too.
Yep.
It's probably like 3 cities and some number of dual lands.
Yeah, I mean, his deck was cool.
Yeah.
Game 3, we kind of went back and forth and fought over Time Vault that he was resolving, and he countered my last counter with like a Red Elemental Blast, and that was my tournament.
Man, Red Elemental Blast is so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, I mean, Goblin Welder did not do a ton for me. I'm not sure.
What are you playing with welders to get your value out of them?
Well, I think my main plan is to like get Time Vault and Voltaic Key and then get the back if I need to, and then I play Sundering Titan. Yeah, they attacked for 1 a couple times.
Do you have Blightsteel or is Sundering Titan your lone big dork?
Sundering Titan is my lone Tinker target, and then Antiquities Rocket Launcher in the sideboard.
Nice.
Whoa.
That's not true.
Oh, I'm so bummed right now. I was so excited that you were playing Rocket Launcher.
You can't really weld Blightsteel in anyway. So.
Right.
Play it. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it was fun, but I think it's time for a change.
Yeah.
What are you changing into?
I don't know. I might actually try Bomberman or the Angels deck because now I have a Mox Pearl, and that would seem kind of important to both of those in Sanctioned Vintage out here.
Oh yeah.
Someone was playing Angels at the tournament.
Yeah, it was in the top 8. It was Twan's top 8 round opponent.
Yeah,
that's right.
Andrew Morrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Angels deck, but I think it needs Snapcasters. All the lists I've seen do not play Snapcaster, and I can't figure out why.
Snapcaster is a really good card.
Well, it's really good in that list. You can do it again with Angel.
I've never been able to get that value play. I was really excited when that guy was playing against Twan because I thought I saw him Angel Flash the Snapcaster.
Was he playing Snapcasters?
Nope.
No,
Yeah.
what was he?
We had Trinket Mages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I thought that he was Angel Flashing the Trinket Mage, but he was not actually. So
Yeah.
I was bummed by that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's just insane, especially like something like a Trinket Mage. If the Trinket Mage has like something lethal coming at it, and you Angel Flash it, you save it, and then you also get another card. Oh man!
Right. Yeah, I mean, Angel is really good for that sort of thing, but I mean, it's just, I mean, that's the same sort of value we'd get out of Snapcaster Mage.
Oh, exactly. Definitely.
I mean, I would at least find room for 2.
I think 2 would be pretty easy to fit in here. Like, I don't know. He has 4 Jace. I mean, Jace is great, but I don't know if you need 4.
I'm alright with 4 Jays.
A lot of people like 4Js.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I only own 3, so.
Yeah. It's good
I
reason
only
to run 3.
I only play decks that don't play Jace because I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I am too.
Yeah, so, but I mean, overall, I think it was a good tournament. Had nice turnout, and I think everyone had a good time. We had, how many people went to, okay, well, so after the tournament, we tried to go to Thurman.
Wait. We missed the most important part.
Is this the medal?
Is this
No.
the treacle?
Yes. Because Riley Curran was fooled by the wrapping on the treacle and picked that as his Vintage Achievements prize.
Was he fooled by it, or was he just like, this is going to be real dumb, so I might as well take it?
All of us were like, you should take that one. That one
I
is
think
shaped
the
like a can.
curiosity just slowly ate away at him until he was just like, I gotta know.
Ryan, the store owner, was super psyched that he did, because he's been waiting for someone to take the treacle for a long time.
Like, what is treacle?
Treacle is sponge cake with syrup on it, and you can buy it in a can. So it's canned sponge cake.
It sounds really sweet and gross.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, normally you'd, take it out of the can or...
No, it says on the can that it's microwavable.
Yeah, but you have to take it out of the can or your microwave will blow up.
Oh.
But anyway, so you warm it up, and then it's like sponge cake with syrup on it. And it's, delicious, sweet cake. So, I mean, the only real problem with it is that I think it's 2 years expired now.
It is indeed. But it's canned. What could go wrong?
I agree. I would still eat that. I would not have a problem with it. I mean, other people might, but I have no shame, so.
Sure. Speaking of you eating things that are terrible.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you lost me too.
Where are we going?
I thought we were going to talk about food.
Oh, yeah, but I didn't eat anything that was terrible all weekend.
Well, that's a pretty decent segue.
Yeah, it is a good segue then. Yeah, so anyway, after the tournament, I think, 11 of us, 13 of us? 13 of us, right? Because we had 2 tables of...
It was a lot.
We had
it
a
was
table
13.
of 6, a table of 5, and a table of 3. That's 14.
I was a table of 3. That's all I know.
But anyway, so we had 14 people who tried to go to Thurman's and discovered that there was a 2.5 hour wait. So
We got beers to go and drank them outside real quick. I didn't know that you could do that. Maybe that's a Columbus thing.
I mean, it's not really a thing you can do.
It's a thing you can do. It's just not necessarily.
It's not a thing you may do.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't start it. There were other people doing it that we didn't know.
I mean, I don't think I'd worry about it necessarily. Anyway. So yeah, we stood out on the street for a while and tried to decide where to go. And the classic fallback for Thurman's is the Easy Street Cafe, which is 2 doors down from Thurman's. And when I looked in the door, it looked like they could seat all 13 of us immediately. So
Which they could.
So that's where we went. And Easy Street is sort of a Greek restaurant.
It's a Greek restaurant with a not very Greek name.
Right.
Yeah.
But they do a pretty good job. They have burgers and you can get gyros and other Greek food and as well as, normal bar stuff like pizza and whatever. I've always liked their food. I always think it's pretty solid.
I thought it was good.
They're not
Yeah,
overpriced
good.
or anything. And, the benefit is that they're right next to Thurman's, and if Thurman's is full, you can just go there. So
Yeah, it's a pretty good audible.
yeah. So I had the gyro there, which I think, from my experiences at the Easy Street, you're better off getting Greek food than, like, a burger. The burgers I've had there have been okay, but they're nothing special. But the gyros are pretty good, and they have good fries. And
I think that burgers are fairly easy to come by. I love gyro meat, so if I ever have that option, I'm going to eat that.
yeah, gyro meat.
It's so good. It's
Is that like a
delicious.
specific country or just all of them?
Specific country?
Yeah, Euro meat.
Yeah,
Meat that's
gyro.
grilled on a spit.
Gyro. Like Gyro, not Euro.
No, I know.
Chapel. Ugh.
Well, I mean, there are other countries that serve similar meat.
That's true. That's true.
Like turkey.
And we also, Nat and I both started out with dessert first.
As is tradition.
As is tradition. You had the standard baklava, and I had the baklava sundae, which comes with vanilla ice cream. You commented about halfway through that you didn't think that the chocolate syrup on yours added anything, and I would agree with it.
They put chocolate syrup on my baklava? That's not a thing, is it?
Yeah, I didn't really understand that.
I mean, it's fine. Like, I like chocolate syrup, but, I mean, it was really just Hershey's syrup on my baklava. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't even warm. And that was the other thing so the chocolate syrup was a little weird. Like, it was fine, but the other thing was the baklava was too cold. It obviously had just come out of a freezer or a cold case or something like that, which I think means that it loses a lot of first of all, the flakiness, and then also some of the flavor that comes with having warm food.
I got the sundae.
Yours was automatically going to be cold.
Yeah, it's going to be cold.
Yeah, so we did that. And what did you have, Chapel?
I ordered, give me the best burger on your menu.
What did they give you?
They gave me a burger with some green chili on top. It was pretty good. And then I got the Greek fries to be,
Greek.
to give it a shot.
I think that was the first time I'd had the Greek fries, and I thought they were okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably get those again.
Yeah, no, I thought everything was pretty good there.
Did you punch a sandwich?
I did. I punched a sandwich.
You got
Good
Charles's,
for you.
didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he tried to play it off.
He tried to be like, oh, I wanted you to punch my sandwich?
Yes.
Oh, that one was a freebie.
Yeah, I totally knew that was coming. Since you're visiting from Colorado and all, I thought I'd give you a good time.
Right.
I was really watching your sandwich, Chapel, and if it had been open, I would have jumped over.
Yeah, Geoff was going to lunge over three of us to get to your sandwich.
I'm not surprised. I think the time I punched Jeff's sandwich was like a traumatic scar on him.
I still have nightmares about that.
Man, that was good.
It was awful.
Yeah, for you. The best was, the story is that Geoff and Chapel are sitting sort of back to back to each other.
Haven't we told this story before
We've
in the Sandwich Punch
told it
episode?
on the podcast before?
I think we told it in the Sandwich Punch episode.
Oh, man, that was such a good one. So anyway, if you haven't heard it, so Geoff and Chapel are sitting back to back, like at a corner of a table, in the corner of a table. And Geoff, it's at the end of a day, and Geoff has a terrible headache, and he gets this plain burger, as that is what he normally eats. And all he wants to do is eat this burger, like he's been looking forward to this. And he gets it, and he puts his ketchup on it or whatever, puts the bun back on, and sets it down, and Chapel spins around in his seat and punches it through the table. Like, it's just the concussion from that blast knocked me out of my chair.
Well, and you just spent all day playing the Mountains Win Again at the tournament.
Yeah.
Jeff
I did.
had a terrible day.
It was awful.
And the look on Jeff's face after that, and I wasn't sure whether he was going to cry or just punch Chapel in the face.
Probably both.
But he took a deep breath and he just started eating his sandwich. Like, this is all I cared about. It was so good.
Oh.
Man, I'm glad somebody's sandwich got punched though. I mean, at Easy Street, not Jeff's necessarily.
Yeah, at our table, I think almost everyone got gyros, so.
Well, no, Caffrey actually got his sandwich punched, but it was well after the point where it was worth punching.
Right. Yeah, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, I mean, I really wasn't going to eat that anyway.
Yeah. And the technicality on the gyros was that they were not listed on the sandwich menu, and as such, since it's one piece of bread, not a sandwich.
Right.
So, if you bought a gyro, you were safe.
I will say that I kind of prefer them when they aren't, like, totally, very commonly when you order one, it's like closed at one end and then just overflowing at the other end. And I really do kind of like to be able to wrap it and eat it normally rather than just getting face full of tzatziki sauce.
So you like to wrap it and eat it normally instead of putting tzatziki sauce all over your face?
Yes, that's exactly what I am saying.
It's good to know. Good to know. Man, now I want a gyro real bad.
Is this bullying?
Yes, it is.
No, we're not talking about that.
No, we're not.
I was just wondering if we were bullying Geoff.
Oh, probably. One time you punched his sandwich.
Yeah, it was awful.
So that was the end of the day on Saturday. And earlier that day, Josh and I had gone to North Star Cafe with the other early arrivers from Team Sirius. And, I mean, I've been there plenty of times, but what did you think of it, Chapel?
I thought it was great. I had the biscuit
sandwich?
Yeah, the biscuit sandwich with bacon and egg that was recommended to me, and it was awesome. Like, the biscuit was great. I had a breakfast beer because Tuan ordered one before me, and, I wouldn't let one of my friends drink by themselves at breakfast. So
no, you can't do that.
So just now thinking this through, I realized that I ordered a cookie to go to eat at the tournament.
And you have no idea where that is, do you?
Yeah, I never ate it. So I think it might be in my bag still.
Oh.
Delicious.
Yeah, what a delightful treat for yourself later on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I might eat it tonight.
For the next Magic tournament. No, you gotta keep it.
Yeah, put it in the prize pool.
Oh, that's great. I gotta wrap it up. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. It was definitely good breakfast. The biscuit was great. I couldn't have made the biscuit, but you can make bacon and eggs pretty easily.
Right. The thing with them is that they usually have really good quality bacon and eggs. Like their bacon is better than other places.
Right.
Just because they have a better bacon source. My complaint about them is that they're slightly overpriced for what you end up with. I mean, because I can make bacon and eggs myself, I really don't like to pay a lot for it.
Yeah, I don't know if what the thing is with Columbus or Cleveland, Toledo area necessarily, but in Denver, people love brunch. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the wait is just bonkers sometimes. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of places around there like that. I mean, there's actually 3 or 4 North Star cafes in the Columbus area, and the wait for them on a weekend is long. Like, you're likely to be there for a half hour standing in line if you go at the wrong time. So.
Yeah, I mean, ours was pretty fast.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was pleased by that because I
think I stayed in line like 6 minutes.
Right. And I had the breakfast burrito, which is, they have a sweet potato hash that has, it's obviously chopped up sweet potatoes, and it's got some peppers and whatever else in it. And then they put some bacon in it and some beans, and that's the burrito. And they actually have really good salsa that goes with it, too. Has a nice flavor, so.
I'm a big sweet potato fan. I tried some of Dom's sweet potato and onions, and that was awesome.
Yeah, actually mine was pretty good. I don't know that I've had that one before, so it was good. And then the night before, so Friday evening, we went to Harvest Pizza, Josh and my wife and I. I really like that place. I think they have some really good pizza toppings. A lot of their extras are pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that place was really good. The ricotta with honey and lavender appetizer was awesome.
Yeah, and I like that you could actually taste the lavender in it.
Right, me too, because that was what pushed me over the edge of ordering the lavender.
What was it?
So it was like ricotta, like a creamy cheese with honey and lavender mixed into it.
Yeah.
On a pizza?
No, it was just in a bowl, and then you had like flatbreads.
Yeah, It was like a cheese dip.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
But that was really good.
See, if you and Sarah would come visit, we could take you there.
I know. We're gonna work on that.
I know. Just giving you a hard time. But so we I think we all got pizzas. So we got 3 different pizzas, and Elizabeth got the spicy Yuma, which has jalapenos and corn, and I don't remember what type of meat it has on it, but but it is indeed spicy, and I like the corn on it because it gives it a little bit of a sweetness that I appreciate. And I had I don't remember what I had. Oh, I had the pineapple, which has pineapples and ham and also jalapenos. And the one thing that's nice about that is that their ham is really high quality. It's not like normal pizza ham, which is normally like, stuff that you would get from Oscar Mayer in the grocery store. It's actually a little bit thicker cut, so you have a little bit of, that chewiness to it, and it actually has a real nice flavor. So I enjoyed that.
Nice.
Yeah, and I got the fennel sausage. So Gouda, provolone, onion, and fennel. And that was pretty good. I like fennel, so I think definitely the standout for me was the spicy Yuma. The meat on it is chorizo.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And that pizza was awesome. All of them were good.
Yeah.
Even the leftovers that we ate after coming back from Easy Street and finishing the bottle of blackberry schnapps.
So was that a mistake? Like, it might have been a mistake, but I can't tell.
The pizza was fine. The blackberry schnapps was a mistake.
Yeah, that's sort of how I felt about it too.
Well, it's like I do this, not as often as I used to, but it still happens. Like, I'll go out, I'll come home, and I should immediately go to sleep.
But no.
Instead, I'll have a beer, I'll have another beer, and I think we were at that point, and you were like, let's finish the blackberry schnapps.
Yeah. And that blackberry schnapps has been around for a long time, too.
Yeah. And you poured shots. I think you just emptied the bottle into 3 glasses, because Elizabeth had gotten home at this point, and we were just talking around the table, I think until like 4 in the morning.
Which was actually 5 in the morning, because it was daylight saving time.
Right?
Yeah.
And you just emptied the bottle into 3 glasses, and Elizabeth was like, is this really a shot? And we were like, yeah. I don't think it was. I think it was like half a glass of blackberry schnapps.
It wasn't that much. I mean, it might have been like a shot and a half for each of us, but it wasn't that much.
Either way, Harvest Pizza was great.
Yeah, I had the last piece the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought overall the weekend was a ton of fun. I think we had really good participation at the tournament. A lot of us went out to dinner afterwards. Got to hang out with Josh Chapple all weekend.
This was in fact very notable because it was the first time since we have started on this endeavor that we have had these serious vintage hosts all together in the same place.
It's true.
Yeah, the only other Team Series Open that I played in was the very first one.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Was that in Sandusky?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was at Dave's store.
Yeah. Well, because
because Dave was like the first person that you were able to convince to let us have a tournament.
Yeah. Well, Dave always wanted to host vintage, but
Right.
like I know that you and I both moved out of Ohio around the same time because we both left in 2008, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And abandoned me. God.
Well, you got Twan?
Yeah, I had Twan. Great.
Or did Twan have you?
Oh, that Tzatziki.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, that has been a long time. And I guess because we've been to Gen Con at the same time, but we weren't doing the podcast yet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Josh missed out on Gen Con last year.
Last year, right. Which I will miss this year, so.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I thought I bought a flight for that today, and apparently I didn't click all the way through because I never got the credit card charge or the final email. So I'll have to take a look at that again.
Maybe you just got a free flight.
That could be too.
Yeah, just show up and be like, I paid for this.
Yeah.
Did you guys not get my? No.
But yeah, I had a really good time last weekend, and I'll definitely try to come back. I mean, it pretty much just depends on the flight price because of the last time I tried to come up on a flight, It was like $450, and this one I got for $200. So.
Yeah. Well, this is actually a pretty good segue because I know that Comic Town and I are talking about hosting a split Legacy and Vintage tournament at the end of May. That would be the weekend of May 31st, which is the weekend after Memorial Day. But anyway, that would be the idea would be to have 3 rounds of Legacy, 3 rounds of Vintage, and then the final rounds would be played in Legacy as well. And hopefully this tournament would get a decent turnout. The idea would be to get some of the local Legacy players playing Vintage regularly, or at least for this one event. And then the next similar tournament we would do the same thing but reversed. So it would be Vintage and then Legacy, and then the final rounds would be Vintage. So you can look forward to that.
Seems exciting.
Yeah. we also had a few other events that we're going to do a little promotion for. The first one, there's one next weekend in Durham, North Carolina. That's Atomic Empire Weekend 5. Sorry, Atomic Empire Eternal Weekend 5. So they're going to have a Legacy and a Vintage event on Saturday and Sunday. And then also next weekend on Sunday is Lindenhurst, Illinois at Extreme Games. There will be hot vintage action. The following weekend, we're going to have 3 tournaments. The first one is in Glen Burnie, Maryland at Games and Stuff on Saturday. There's also the next Team Serious Open at the Hero Zone in Sandusky, Ohio on Saturday. And then on Sunday in Livonia, Michigan at RIW Hobbies, also vintage. And I will put links to all of those events in the podcast write-up.
Wait, are those like this weekend?
No, next weekend, the March 21st and 22nd is the one in Durham, North Carolina and in Lindenhurst, Illinois. And then the following weekend, which is March 29th and 30th, there's Glen Burnie, Maryland, Sandusky, Ohio, and Livonia, Michigan.
Got it.
There's a lot of vintage going on. This is hard to track.
There are a lot of vintage.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have one final thing to say. The potholes in Cleveland, Ohio are insane.
Do you remember that pothole in the parking lot of North Star? That thing would have actually swallowed my car.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Twan hit a pothole in his car and blew off a wheel. Is that true?
Yeah. I checked with him. He did.
The potholes in Cleveland were like 2 feet deep.
Yeah, and he said that it wasn't necessarily like a direct reaction, like he hit a pothole and his wheel blew off. It was more like a series of potholes, and then his wheel fell off a little bit later. And he said that, he pulled over, and there was a Hispanic guy who came out of his house and was like, "Hey, did you need some help?" And Twan was like, "I think I'm just gonna need a tow. I don't really know what's going on." And the Hispanic guy looked at his wheel looked at the wheel, said something in Spanish, and then went back in his house.
Well, I mean, that sounds a lot less exciting than having it blow right off your car. And as someone that's been in a car on the highway where the wheel's blown off,
Yeah.
I was just glad it wasn't my car.
Right.
Yeah.
But still,
do you not have serious pothole problems out in Denver?
No. Our city has money.
Yeah.
They legalized marijuana.
Must be nice.
Do they use salt out there?
No.
Yeah.
Not usually, I don't think. I don't know if they use it at all. But our snow doesn't really call for it because we'll get like a large amount of snow in one day, and then the next day it'll be like 45 degrees and melt.
Right.
So it doesn't really stick around that much.
Right.
Must be nice.
You don't have water getting into cracks in the road and then freezing and popping rocks out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it usually just all melts. Our winters are awesome.
Sounds like it. Well, it's happened again. You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to Serious Vintage. I'm Geoff Moes.
I'm Nat Moes.
And I'm Josh Chapple.
And we hope you'll join us next time for more Serious Vintage.
Take a little trip, take a little trip, take a little trip and see. Take a little trip, take a little trip, take a little trip with me.
Man, that's the best part about doing these is you can do them naked.